The thing that I have here today is I have people in my life who suffer from dis-ease. I have a 61-year-old stepfather that had a stroke 6 months ago. He's still physical and he's actually doing okay. But obviously smoking 50 years, his arteries are hard. He's got plaque in him. It's a condition that...
We want to tell you something about your inner being. Your inner being is aware of everything that you're aware of. But your inner being never would focus in a way to tell a story like that. And when you do, you set yourself up for some of that resistance or separation. When you focus like that, the reason you feel like you feel when you focus like that is because you're choosing an avenue of thought that your inner being will not choose. So you're choosing to separate yourself vibrationally from your inner being while you do that. So the key is to find a way to stay integrated, involved with, flowing with the resources of your inner being while you focus on someone, which really takes discipline. It takes practicing on easy things first. And it's that defensive state that holds you in a place of not really letting who you are be there as the resource. Now, the discord in the form of disease is just strong evidence of either a decision to make their reemergence into non-physical, which sometimes it is, or resistance about something. You want to be tuned in and then look.
My question is this, right? We eat, we're gluttonous, we smoke, we don't know what we're doing, we wake up and bang. Where does vision, where does rockets of desire, where does clarity and expectation come in as far as healing an incurable disease? When rheumatoid arthritis...
that's not possible. Cannot heal an incurable disease. Okay. Because your belief that it is incurable will not allow you to hook up with the energy that allows the healing. We don't want you right now to decide to heal them. We just want you to hook up for your own benefit. Because you know why they're sick? Because they've been watching other people get sick. They're sick and they don't like being sick, and then people look at them and they freak out and feel vulnerable. You know what feeling vulnerable is? Pinching off your resources. You know what pinching off your resources is? Dis-ease. So the question is, how can that be in the world, and how can it be in the world with people I really care about without me having a knee-jerk reaction to that? And the answer is, you have to have practiced your resources of source so well that you can stand steady even in that, which is why we start with this subject of satisfaction. You've put them in your vortex. So now you want to open your pathway to your vortex. Well, your vortex is over here. It's forward where your inner being is. Your sick friends are back there. So if you keep looking back there instead of over there, you don't practice that alignment. That's why we have begun recently really talking a lot about satisfaction. Esther spent an afternoon, once she got the gist of what we were talking about, trying to identify moments in time when she knew for sure she was feeling pure satisfaction. And then she pondered them and thought about them and even wrote about them, because she wanted to identify and isolate and practice what that feeling of satisfaction feels like. You got to do that. You can't take something that you care so much about and discover connection in that moment. You're not going to do it. The momentum of everything that you've worried about for all that time, your own vulnerability, your feeling of vulnerability about other people, your own pessimism about whether somebody really can create everything that they want, those things all are working against you. So you've got to start with that. All right, what moments do I know for sure were satisfying? And of course, anything that's outrageously fun, anytime you're laughing, lots of thoughts about times with friends when they're really having a good time. Just this feeling of satisfaction of this perfect moment in time. Everything's perfect in my world. Satisfaction. Nothing to worry about, nothing to complain about, just complete satisfaction, contentment, satisfaction, contentment. So we want you to play this game with yourself for a little while, off subjects of greater importance to you, greater importance and therefore usually greater negative momentum. Start with easy things until you've isolated at least what that feeling of satisfaction feels like, and practice it so that it doesn't take long. before it becomes your default vibration. And here's why it matters. Oh, you're going to like this so much. If you are in despair or revenge feels better than despair, but it's still resistant. Blame feels better than revenge, but it's still resistant. Blame feels better than guilt. Each feeling of relief as you move up the emotional scale is an indication that you're leaving some resistance behind. But it isn't until you cross over into satisfaction that you are really resistant free. So when you're resistant free, now, the movement up the emotional scale is so quick. But you all have not been practicing and isolating and caring about the feeling of satisfaction. You dip into complaints, and so it's a rare one of you who maintains satisfaction long enough to find out how fast you can move up into love and ecstasy and being in that place where you are such a vibrational match to everything that's in your vortex that ideas can begin to flow.
Which means through that state of satisfaction, can you get rid of a virus? Can you undo the plaque in the artery?
You can get into satisfaction, but you can't think about the disease or the virus and stay there. Go forth and tell no one. And you know, the thing that keeps you from moving toward the things you want is the reality that doesn't contain them. You're so good at looking at what is that your vibration is mostly about what is. How much money I've got, how many friends I've got, how many lovers I've got, if I've even got a lover, how well I feel, how much my nose is running today. We get it. It's vivid. And it's meant to be vivid because as you sift and sort through it, it's how you become decisive about what you prefer. It's all really, really good. But once your seeing and hearing and smelling and tasting and touching has produced for you understanding of what you want, then you want to give more of your attention to where you're going, not where you are. Do you know what your greatest hindrance to your new desires coming about is? Do you know what that greatest hindrance is? Your observation and determination to get others to get you, to understand where you are. You know why you want them to get you? Because when you're not standing where you want to be at very deep levels, you know something is wrong, because you're supposed to be able to have whatever you want. You are the creator of your own reality. Life is supposed to be fun. Life is good to you. That's what your inner being knows. That's what your inner being knows. That's what your inner being is broadcasting to you all day, every day. And if you find something that makes you think you know something different, you feel the offness of that. And so when you feel the offness of that, we have not said this before to you in this way. When deep down, you know you're supposed to feel good, and right now, for whatever reason you don't, you know something is wrong, you feel defensive. And that defensiveness holds what you want away. And so everything that you hear from us is us calling you in the direction of your desire. And the tug of war that you feel is not the tug of war between you and Abraham. It's a tug of war between what you want and where you are. It's your own vibrational internal tug of war.
Do we have the power to cure disease?
Yes. But you got to hook up to the power. You have the power to vacuum your living room floor, but you got to plug the vacuum cleaner in too.
Fair enough.
You can make all those marks on the carpet that you want. Are you vacuuming? Yes. I'm covering every square inch of this room. Yes. I didn't actually plug it in. Was I supposed to plug it in?
Can you undo the damage that has been done?
No.
You can't.
You don't have to undo it. You just start new. Because the desire, you see, let's say you've done all of those things and you've launched all these rockets of desire. So in your vortex is actually the healthiest being you've ever been. So when you begin moving in the direction of that, then you become that. The
cancer disappears, the arthritis goes away. Could you take the joints that have mild deformation and actually heal that? Can that come back? Can you regenerate that? I mean,
your inner being is many, we can't even put the right numbers or percentages to it, times a more powerful attractor by law of attraction to the reality that you've created than you are. Talk about leverage. Your inner being is gathering up the stuff, everything necessary. So here you stand, having thoughts and beliefs as you've demonstrated here, and that's just fine. Everybody has it. But you've been practicing thoughts of satisfaction, and you've been meditating where you've quieted your mind altogether, where there's been no thought. And when there's no thought, your vibration rises. So you've been practicing higher vibrations of satisfaction, and you've been meditating. And under those conditions, when you are vibrationally equivalent to your desire, then it flows over into your experience in the form of inspiration, of thoughts. All kinds of things that your inner being is thinking are crossing your mind, provided you're in the vibrational vicinity of it. It isn't until you've meditated and quieted your mind, it isn't until you've isolated the feeling of satisfaction, it isn't until you've decided to maintain control of your thoughts a bit, it isn't until you are in the receiving mode and receiving a thought that you follow and see the results of, that you really get how powerful your own mind is and how capable you are of being in concert with your own desires. Most people are not in concert with their own desires because they're looking at what is. And what is just too vivid to you. We're trying to make your vortex more vivid. We're trying to make your true reality more vivid. We want you to feel the wholeness of who you are. We want you to practice your satisfaction until it's more vivid, until it's more dominant. We want you to feel the bigness, the wholeness, the powerfulness, the invincibility of who you are. We want you to feel like Jesus felt. We want you to feel how he felt and know what he knows. We want you to know that you can be or do or have anything that you desire. You can't find what you want while you're doing it the way you're doing it. You cannot do it the human way, the human way, the human way, the human way. Let's just talk about it. Let's catalog it and pigeonhole it and call it good and bad. Let's put it in piles of Democrats and Republicans and wrong and right and black and white and gay and straight. And that's what the human world does. They take the results of vibrational flow and they call it life, and they separate it into piles. They categorize it, pigeonhole it, and condemn it, blame it, judge it. And we want you to mix all those piles up. Let's just make a big mess of a pile. It's got it all in it. And now let's understand that pile to have only two categories. People who are in alignment with source and under the influence of who they are, and those who in this moment are under the influence of the doctors or the disease or the whatever else. Just two piles, because you're going to find people in alignment in both the Democratic and Republican pile. You're going to find those in alignment in both the straight and the gay pile. The only thing that matters is, what influence am I under right here and now? Am I under the influence of my desire, or am I under the influence of a belief that contradicts my desire? And it doesn't take very long before you'll say, I'm under the influence of my desire and my belief, because I've shown myself that if I desire it and I believe it, it can be. So humans judge things on evidence and statistics. So the odds are, that's incurable. That's the odds. Well, where'd you get those odds? By observing the piles. The piles. Well, was anyone in that pile in alignment with source when you observed them? You see?